Good morning. I'm Rob Anderson, also known as Anti-Spam Guy, and the founder of Grape ID. And this is our crowdfunding campaign investor, or the crowdfunding campaign founder live Q&A for investors. And this is in regard to our crowdfunding campaign that is hosted on Wefunder.com. So the purpose of this is to simply give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then I will answer them. And so I will go ahead and share my screen with what is going on. And then we will go ahead and get started. So I know this is going to be broadcast in multiple different platforms. And so we will wait a couple minutes while people start getting on to this live stream. Okay, so I will leave this slide on for just a few moments, but this presentation is in regards to the Wefunder crowdfunding campaign. It is currently located, if this is the first time seeing this is located at wefunder.com/Grape ID. That's where you can find the source of all truth for the Grape ID crowdfunding campaign. And the way this will work is this is currently being broadcast in this current webinar, which is a URL right here. Here's the link, wave.video. And then it's also being broadcast to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. So your option to ask a question is either to ask in the chat, and then I should see it over here. I will have to consciously look just to make sure I don't miss any. And the other option is to join the webinar directly with this video, this link right here. So let me see if I can post that in the chat. Yes, I think I can. So I will just grab the link off of here. And then if anyone sees this message, please let me know. That way we can confirm that it's actually working. Okay. Looks like it's working, even though nobody has confirmed yet. All right, back to the presentation. So we are broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and that's it. Just if you want to ask a question, you can type it in the chat, and then you can also join the webinar directly and ask it there. Thank you, Ray. I see that you say that you see it. Perfect. So to get started, I thought about going through the pitch deck and everything, but I just figured this is how it actually gets started for me, is in Uber. So as I've been trying to figure out how to, over the past 7 years, I have to pay the bills because I'm the one that's had to pay for pretty much everything except for the founder or the investors that we have so far. So anything above that the business expenses I've had to pay for that. And so one way that I've covered those is by driving Uber. And another way that I've driven Uber just to pay for my own personal expenses. So the reason I say that is because this is basically when someone hops in my car, this is what they see. And they see right here a sign that says, instead of tipping me, follow me, join 50 million people to end spam forever. And then there's a QR code where they can scan and follow me on social media. And then it explains a little bit right here. And the reason I'm saying this is because in order to explain what we are creating at Grape ID, I've had to talk with literally thousands of people. I've done over 4,000 Uber rides, and then that's just on Uber. And then, of course, all the people I've interviewed through countless other methods. I've come up with a way to explain this in a very simple way because not everyone wants to invest in a startup. Not everyone knows technology. So all I will do is just share with you the pitch that I give to people when they get in my car for an Uber ride. And it usually goes something like this. Hey, what's all this, instead of tipping me, follow anti-spam guy thing? What's this end spam forever? And I say, oh, now I'm so glad you asked. And I say that, well, yeah, you know how you have all those pesky, annoying text spam, email spam, spam calls, and spam comments on social media. And there are over 30 categories of spam. And they're usually like, yeah, I hate those. And then I just explained, well, we've created a solution that is a permanent fix for spam. And the problem, though, is in order to have it be adopted, and we need to have this technology be adopted by major tech companies. So that's why we have the goal of reaching 50 million people, is because we need enough people to want to use this free open source software that then the big tech companies will adopt it. And then they usually say something like, well, that's cool, but how does it work, and so forth. So then I'll just give you my pitch right now of what I usually tell them. So that when they ask me how it works, I normally say, well, you know how like what you think is spam might not be the same as what I think is spam. Like if you get an email from a pharmacy, Walgreens, then you may want that because you signed up, but I may not have signed up. I may not even know what it is. And so spam for you is different than spam for me. And the only way to know if spam is considered spam for you is you have to basically know everything about your entire life. So that's what the technology does, is it allows you to get control of your data by bringing all of it into one place that runs on a software application that is on your device, so nobody else can see it. And when you have all of your information that can be accessible and managed by your device, then that allows it to know and think like you. So it knows when an incoming call is routed through your identity agent, through your application, then your application can redirect it and say, yes, it should go to spam, it should not, we should block it. So basically, you have to lock up your entire digital life on a device that you control. And then anytime you get calls, emails, texts, or social media, eventually it'll all route through your identity agent, which is on your phone. And since it knows everything about you because it's just on your phone and it's a software application that doesn't share it with anyone, then that's how it knows what is spam, and it filters it all for you. And basically, it's kind of like a Jarvis in Iron Man, where it can do anything and it has full access to everything, but it only acts on your behalf, and you have to explicitly give it permission to do anything. So that's usually I gauge to see whether they are interested or confused, and then I ask them questions or they'll ask me follow-up questions. So that's really all that I do. And then sometimes I have people that ask me about encryption, or then we start getting into all the frequently asked questions. And that's why I have this session right now with you all. So what I'd like to do is just have a discussion. I'm going to run through these 6 points right here. And then after that, I'll just open it up so that anyone can ask questions. And the whole point of this is not to have me just talk forever. So I'll probably take maybe 5 more minutes at the most, and then I'll just run through these questions. And so if you have any questions, feel free to add it in the comments. And then I will pull up LinkedIn as well just to see, because I don't think I see those questions. So I will go ahead and start with the first topic here. So the April 15th deadline. Now, we are working with this decentralized technology. We are the identity agent. So I know there's a lot of potential confusion here. Like, why are we talking about ending spam? And then why are we talking about ending or a digital wallet? So what happens here is the identity agent, since it manages your data for you, it can also receive a digital ID, but it's not like a digital ID that other countries are attempting to get past where governments can control you. This is a fully decentralized, nobody can track you. It runs fully on your device, digital wallet. And we are creating that will then be used by different states to be able to receive your digital your driver's license. And so the April 15th deadline is we are finalizing the demo for the technology for states to be able to issue a driver's license. And then this is also relevant because it's in relations to a new law that Utah is actually the only state and the only country or the only government body in the world I've seen where they passed a law that says people must be in control of their identity and their data. And it's called the state endorsed digital identity. So basically, we will we need to have the demo ready by the 15th because we're going to demo it to 15 plus different state representatives or agencies. And, that exposes us to potentially 30 million, like a pipeline of 30 million users. And I see that all states eventually will, I hope that all states will eventually adopt the laws and make it a law, this SEDI law, that people have to be in control of their data. And when they do that, and we're a technology that provides that ability where people can independently, without being tracked by anyone, can have their own digital identity, then obviously that is a good position to be in because then we can increase, be usable by millions and millions of people. So this technology we will demo. The Linux Foundation is what we are. It's the nonprofit brand that is managing the open source technology. So it's the code. And the significance of the Linux Foundation is, let's just say Google developed a technology like this that says, hey, now you can download your identity and you can use all this code that allows you to manage it. And then they suddenly switch and say, well, okay, now it's not a free software. Now you have to pay us a fee. Nobody can use it for free or something like that. Then they could change the licensing. And then although you might be able to manage your data on your own and without being tracked, then suddenly you are doing it while violating their licensing. So we want to avoid that. And that's why Grape ID does not own the actual open source software. It's owned by the Linux Foundation, which is a nonprofit neutral entity. That way, big tech companies can trust that when they integrate with this technology, it's not going to change and become a different licensing model or etc. So hopefully that makes sense. And that is why we have a nonprofit side, which is the Linux Foundation, and then a for-profit side. So the for-profit is Grape ID, the marketplace, and then we also charge identity verification services to businesses and enterprises. No one will ever be charged at the consumer level unless maybe we'll have some things that they could optionally subscribe to or purchase but by and large, people will never need to, so consumers will never have to pay anything, only a select few that might. Anyway, we have the nonprofit side that manages the technology, the core technology of the identity agent. And then we have the for-profit side that allows you to use your identity agent and make money off of your data and your time through the Grape ID marketplace. And I just view that as the difference between, well, let's see. So the Linux Foundation is kind of like a USB, like the USB cord. This one thing right here was created by 5-7 different major tech companies, but they had to come together to create this basic technology that allows anyone to connect any device, and it enables multiple other businesses to exist. And that's what we're creating with an identity agent and with the nonprofit Linux Foundation open source project, is we're creating the USB of the identity space, an identity agent. So it's a free, and it allows businesses and consumers to connect using it. So hopefully that helps just give a little bit more of an explanation about the significance of the nonprofit Linux Foundation. And then for the anti-spam guy, I'll wrap the rest of this up in 60 seconds. So with the anti-spam guy persona, so I've got I'm trying to figure out a way, and it may fail, but I'm trying to figure out a way, and so far it's proving to be worthwhile. But I'm trying to figure out a way to really market this in a way that's not just boring, and and that's why I came up with the here. Let me just grab it. So that's why I have the anti-spam guy suit and a full-on cape and everything, and then I want to be able to go out at some point and interview people on in Uber rides, because as I'm talking with these people, like if this if my conversations were made public, then people would start to see and learn what it is that we're creating about identity agents much more quickly. So that's why, I mean, it comes down to money, and I don't have the time to create all the social media content. So that goes down into growing the team. I mean, basically, I'm battling founder burnout because I have so much to do, and the busier, the more successful, and the more progress that we make, then the more I have that I can't do. So we have to grow the team, and then the I'll just run through these. Let's see. We need developers, we need product managers, and people to help with social media. And I already have the majority of these people lined up. We just have to have the funding to be able to pay them so they can work on Grape ID full time. That's where we're at with growing the team. And we also have the first domino is when we raise the next $50,000. That is the catalyst to unlock the next phases. So one of the next things is I'll be able to post more on social media more consistently and bring in people to help me do that. And then we also have a company that is a crowdfunding, advertising, what do you call them? Crowdfunding consultancy, because there's so much work that goes into crowdfunding. So we have a company that we're going to bring in to manage the crowdfunding campaign. That way I can get updates out and we can bring in more people much more quickly. So that's why the first $50,000 or the next $50,000 that we raise, then it will enable us to bring in that campaign manager, as well as post more on social media and complete the demo for April 15th. And that's it. So that is everything that I have for my presentation. So if anyone has questions, then please let me just, go ahead and ask. Now is the time. I will stop sharing my screen. And then as I look to see if anyone has questions, I will also pull up some questions that other people have already asked me before. So, and then actually I will probably just share that on the screen as well. So, silence. All right, I will check the LinkedIn just to see if there are any comments. I don't see anything there. All right, so I will share my screen once again, and then let's just go through some of the generic question and answers that I get. So one of the number one questions that I get is, okay, so if Grape ID allows you to consolidate all of your data and then put it in one place and protect it on your device, so you've got the digital keys on your device and then nobody else can see your data, but don't they already have my data? Like, what happens to all that data that is already out there, and how does it help that? Well, that's a topic, like a topic that can be a very long conversation, but how I would describe that right now is that our data changes. Is there are different types of data, and then the data that changes then makes it irrelevant. So, for example, let's say you're sharing your data, your location data, like where am I at literally right now? And if somebody can track my GPS location, but then you cut it off and then you move, then that means that location data becomes less and less helpful, less and less relevant. So one strategy is to just cut it off. the data supply. And that's what you do with an identity agent, is you cut off data, access to data to other companies. And doing so is what makes it so that your data is less relevant, because they don't have the latest. Like, they need to know what the latest and greatest data is about you. And then there are other types of data that don't change, kind of like, well, actually, I have another. This isn't the best example right here, but I'm just sharing with you. This is one of the questions that I get all the time. And there's a different document I have that explains it much more succinctly. But hopefully, the one example that I gave you is enough to just give you an idea of what the answer is to that question. So I will create social media posts about this. And that's one of the things that it just takes time to create social media posts about that. But then another question is, isn't there always a backdoor? Like, how can I trust that if I install an identity agent, how do I trust that this software isn't just siphoning, sharing my data with either Grape ID or the government or any other company? And the way that you can know that this software is not doing that is because, well, you install it on your device, and then here it is. Here it is. So it's open source code. So first off, everyone can see the code in the application that you're running. So if you don't read code, and then you just have to trust developers that review the code and say, yeah, it doesn't send data anywhere. So that's one way where you can trust that there is no backdoor, that you can trust that the identity agent is doing what I'm saying. And then there's also cryptographic proof that your identity agent is running an unaltered version. So in other words, that code that people trust, then there's a way to create cryptographic proof that you're running that code on your device. And then everyone else can see that you're running on, like, when you interact with other people, then you'll provide just a hash. It's like a proof that you're running a verified version. That way you can trust that your own software is running a legitimate copy of this code and that other people are running it. Plus, we will also have external audits that audit the code and whatnot, because that's required in order to be a technology provider for a state agency. And then there's also a way that you can see the activity in your agent, your identity agent app. And then by default, all sharing permissions are off. That's like the complete opposite of every other app that you download. Is they all send data by default. Even I'm talking about even crash analytics and bug reports, and even that is turned off. I mean, everything is turned off by default on an identity agent. And you can see that if you review the code. So I'm sure there are other questions and answers. Let's see. Now, other people, yeah, they ask. Now, this might be more technical, so I'll just share it very quickly. But how can people hack this with social engineering? This just goes to the security concern, where the majority of cybercrime right now is caused by not technical hacks, but it's caused by social engineering, where instead of me trying to steal hack into your Gmail by guessing the password, instead I'll just trick you with an phishing email that tricks you into typing in the password. So that's the difference between social engineering and a technical hack. We're not just forcing passwords. The most common way is to social engineer, trick you into guessing. And this solves that in many aspects, because it provides ways to do like a universal way to verify links before you even click them, that to ensure that they are verified, provides a universal way to know if people are exactly who they say they are. And that's a deep conversation to have another day, but generally that's the idea. So those are the main questions I had generally about the identity agent technology, and I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. So the only other question that I will bring up is about the actual investment on Grape ID. And somebody asked me, well, let's see. I will bring up actual investor pitch, or the Wefunder pitch page. So right here with the Grape ID marketplace, what is the well, let's see. So in this investor pitch deck, I explain how this identity agent will be a digital wallet. Where's the slide? Right here. So it'll be a digital wallet, and it'll also provide people with access to the Grape ID attention marketplace. Now, we have like two different products that might seem a little bit different, but if you've ever used the Browse or Brave browser, then you'll know that you can browse the internet in a private manner, but then they also offer you to earn rewards. It's kind of like that, where you use the identity agent to protect your privacy. Everything's on your device, and you can receive your state issued digital wallet. At least you will in Utah soon, and then hopefully other states in the future, and hopefully worldwide eventually. But then you'll be invited to join the attention marketplace. And the actual trigger, there are multiple triggers. Like, why would anyone join the attention marketplace? Well, some people won't. So we'll just be straight up about that. Is some people will say, okay, maybe, I like the privacy of my receiving my driver's license or something like that from a state, but then I'll just use that. They won't opt into the attention marketplace. Or maybe they just don't understand it. But the fact is that everyone needs products and services to live. So we always need things. We have problems. And so those who don't recognize it, that's one category of people. Then there are people who just want to make money. So that's an important trigger, where people will literally, you don't open your wallet to engage with the marketplace. They're separate tabs. So people who just want to make money, they'll say, okay, yeah, all I have to do is swipe left and right and interact with ads that I like, and I get paid. And they do that because it brings them income, or they're able to make money. And I know that I haven't shared exactly how that works, so I'm assuming that you kind of have an idea. But basically, it's you swipe left and right on ads, and the ads are targeted for you because your own agent, your own identity agent on your computer, on your phone or laptop, it's finding ads that are relevant to you. And then the ads are supposed to actually help you, but then you get paid to view them, rather than advertisers paying social media platforms and data brokers that then spam you with ads. Instead, we just go direct, where an advertiser can pay you for your time. It's so simple. And some people will say, okay, I just want to make money, so I will open the app, and maybe they get a notification that says you've got $8 worth of ads that you can view, and then they just go swipe and view them. Other people will have actual problems that they want to solve, and when they share with their identity agent, hey man, I've got this, like, I'm going on a vacation next week and I need to plan, my flight and all this stuff. They just explain all their problems. Then they start, what their identity agent does is finds all the different services, because it knows exactly what you want as the user. Then it finds all the services that are relevant. And then it starts showing you ads for things that you actually want because you're going on vacation, and you get paid to view those ads for things you want. So there are those people in that category that are trying to solve actual problems, and they will just go to the tab or the app, the attention marketplace screen, and then start swiping on ads. And then the only other thing that I will share about this is that the identity or the attention marketplace can show you ads in an app where you just scroll. You swipe left and right, but you can also choose how you want to see the ads. You could receive them in your email, and then you engage there, or you could receive them. We've got a model where even social media companies can plug into your Grape ID identity agent and then show ads on the social media platform. So basically, instead of seeing ads on social media platforms that you're already seeing, you can opt in and say, I want to see Grape ID ads that are highly relevant to you. Facebook and all the social platforms wouldn't get any of your data, and you get paid to see the ads. which is completely the opposite of how you see ads on social media. So that's one thing that I'm very curious to see just in the market. How many people would rather just see ads in an app and then engage with them versus showing them ads in places where they already are forced to see ads, but then they get paid for them because it's from their identity agent. So that's something that we have to experiment with in the future to see exactly what people's preferences are. But first, we have to build it and or can finish building it. I would demo all this stuff, but it's all on the page. So it's all. Let me get out of here. Yeah, you can see demos. So this is where you would talk with your identity agent and it learns about you. And then all of that data is just stored on your own device and under your control. Only you have the keys. And then this is how you would just swipe left and right to be paid for it. So you can view a demo right here by clicking this link. And then if you are an advertiser, then the way that you see ads, or that, sorry, the way that you buy ads or that you share your ad creative with people that you're trying to target is it would be a platform that's very similar to Google ads or Facebook ads. You just log in and set your price, select who you're targeting, and upload your ad, and then it gets sent out to everyone. So it's pretty simple. You can see, I think I have a demo, yeah, of that right here. And well, we don't have any other questions, so I will just let's see if there's anything else important. Yeah, I'll just make one comment about this with the identity, the attention marketplace. So for an advertiser, they currently are paying, like if you go to Facebook, you're going to pay for impressions. Like let's say you pay $10 for 1,000 impressions. That's what an advertiser has to do right now is they go to Facebook and they say, yeah, I will pay $10 for 1,000 impressions. That means they're literally paying $10 to spam people 10,000 times because an impression is just something that's there that most people don't want to see, and they may even not see it at all. But that's the current model of how the advertising works, where advertisers buy impressions. But with Grape ID, they're buying engagement. It's not, will we show it to you, whether you see it or not, but they're buying and paying for actual engagement. Will you swipe up or down? Kind of like right here. Will you swipe on it? Or if you add a comment about it, advertisers can even pay you to join a webinar or to take a test ride if they're buying a car, or they can pay you for anything. Basically, they're paying you for your time and attention. So that's one thing that I think right here is extremely, extremely significant and different with how the market currently works and how it works with Grape ID Attention Marketplace. So with that, if anyone has questions regarding anything else, then you can, let's see, I think we can see the, ask a question section right here. You just go to ask a question, and then you can ask any question that you want right there. And then this is the first, I will go ahead and stop sharing here. So this is the first live Q&A webinar that I'm doing. And so I will bring in future ones, I will bring in other people, current investors, or whatever makes sense. And so we'll be able to answer the questions that people have. And then, yeah, so for my next steps is we are focused on raising that first or the next $50,000. And then we will be able to start the domino effect of bringing in other people and being able to scale this solution, the Grape ID identity agent. And then we will also do the demo in April. So, but we will have probably another webinar before April 20th. So anyway, with that, that's everything I have. I don't think that there are any questions in the live chat, so just ask them online. And other than that, thank you very much for joining. And if you've already invested, thank you very much. Thank you. And if you are considering it, then Also, if you are considering investing 20,000 or more, then you can schedule, there's a link at the bottom, and you can schedule a time with me. And